Hello, in this video we're going to learn about using the main operator symbolization method with all of our symbols now, with the conditional and the negation and the conjunction, and we're going to do some examples with it. So one thing we need to know is just about and in English can go many places. So it can go between sentences, Romy sings and Sandra dances, and that's actually the only place the wedge can go in our language, right? Because all we have are sentence letters. We don't have names and verbs, so for us, we just have those atomic sentence letters, and then we can build up sentences out of them, and between any of those sentences we can stick in the wedge symbol. So and is like that, but also and in English can go between names, like in Romy and Sandra sing, and also verbs, Romy sings and dances. And so in the names case, Romy and Sandra sing, that's just Romy sings and Sandra sings. Romy sings and dances, that's Romy sings and Romy dances. So I think that's pretty clear, but we just want to be explicit about that. When we're symbolizing using trees and main operators, we find all the logical operator words, and that means now we're looking for all of our conditional words, if, then, if, only given that, and so on. We're looking for all of our negation words, it's not the case that, not, the contraction nt. And then we're looking for our and words, which right now is just and. So we want to find all of those. And then we want to use our removal tests to figure out which of those is the main connective, symbolize it, move the pieces down, and repeat until we get down to the sentence letters, and then or the atomic sentences of English, and then we turn those into sentence letters, and we're done, which is good. The removal test for finding the main operator works basically the same way. We just want to be clear, how does it work when we're looking for conjunctions? And it works the same way as when we're testing for conditionals. So when we delete an and, then we should be left with exactly two sentences, because that's how we build an and sentence, except when the and comes between a noun or a verb, right? And then we need to be a little bit more sensitive about, oh, I just took it out from a noun phrase, so really it's, Romy, if I have Romy and Sandra sing, then when I take that and out, well, I'm going to be left with Romy on the one hand and Sandra sing on the other hand, and we just need to know, oh yeah, well, there's that sings there, right? But the basic idea is the same. If we delete it, are we left with two sentences or not? And if we are, passes the test. If not, doesn't pass the test, remembering that we need to be sensitive about when we take the and out from between a noun or a verb as opposed to between a sentence. And of course, negation works the same way. If you delete a negation, does exactly one sentence remain? If yes, the negation passes the test. If no, it doesn't. And remembering that not and the negative contraction nt attach only to sentence letters and not to things bigger than that. So let's go look at some examples of symbolization in the symbolization module. So here's a pretty basic example. Romy and Sandra are singing. Well, the only logical word here is the and. If we delete it, we're not actually left with two sentences. We have Romy and then Sandra are singing, but we know that the are singing is supposed to attach to Romy, and so this is just a conjunction of Romy is singing, which is are, and Sandra is singing, which is S. Pretty good, pretty straightforward. Let's look at some more. Romy isn't singing and Sandra is singing. So now we have two pieces of, two words that are two logical operator words. We've got the and the nt, the contraction. And we know that, well, the contraction is just going to attach to Romy is singing, making this a conjunction of Romy isn't singing with Sandra is singing. So that's atomic S. This is the negation of Romy is singing. Oops, let's get rid of that nt. And that's R. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. It's not the case that both Romy and Sandra are singing. Okay, well, we've got the and here we've got the it's, and oh, and the both too. That goes with the and then it's not the case that. So which do we take out first? Well, if we take out the both and, then we have some gobbledygook, right? We have it's not the case that, and then just hanging out there all by itself, and then we have Romy, and then we have Sandra are singing. And the are singing here is supposed to go with Romy, but so that's good, we would have two sentences, but then we have this it's not the case that just hanging out by itself. So we have two sentences, Romy is singing, and then Sandra is singing when we delete the and, so that's good. But then we also have the it's not the case that floating in space, and that's bad. That means it's not. That means the and is not the main connective, because if it were, we would have just exactly 2 sentences and not 2 sentences plus some stuff left over. And that means this is a negation. When we remove it's not the case that, we're left with both Romy and Sandra are singing, which is a sentence. So this is how we symbolize that. It's the negation of both of them. This is now a conjunction of Romy is singing and Sandra is singing. So we can stick in Romy is singing is R, and then we have Sandra is singing, which is S. Oops. And there we go. That's, again, we just need to make sure we get the negation in the right place, and that it is not the case that hooks onto that whole thing, which makes it the main connective. This can't be the main connective, because if it were, then this is just left floating in space, and that wouldn't be grammatical, and so that means that's the and is not the main connective. And yeah, that's what this is saying. Are they both singing? No. At least one of them isn't. Maybe they both aren't. Maybe one of them is and one of them isn't. We don't know. We know that it's not the case that they're both, just like we know that it's not the case that Carmen is in both San Diego and Las Vegas from our negation and conjunction video. Let's look at one more. Two more. If I run today, I will be sore and tired. Okay, so we've got if and we've got and. We have to decide which is the main connective. If we delete this and, we're left with if I run today, I will be sore. And then tired, and it really would be I will be, right? And so you might think, okay, yeah, if we delete the and, then actually that's okay, right? We're saying if I run today, I will be sore. Then we're also saying I will be tired, period, separately. And that would mean the main connective was a conjunction. So we might think, well, okay, maybe the and does okay there. What about the if? If we delete the if, then we have 2 sentences for sure. We have I run today, and then we have I will be sore and tired. So which is the main connective, do you think? The and does an okay job with the main connective. The if definitely does an okay job with the deletion test. Or the and does an okay job with the deletion test. So we want to say it's the if, and we're going to say that for 2 reasons. One is that when we have sore, when we have like the and in a verb, we're going to treat it like negation. So it's hooked on just to the sentence letters. But also, even putting that to the side, when we have 2 operator words that are competing to be the main connective that both do at least okay with the removal test, with the deletion test, then we choose the one that makes a sentence break at the comma, and the comma is here, and the if is being the main connective is what makes the sentence break there. And so if for no other reason than the comma, the if is the main connective because it makes a sentence break at the comma. So this is a conditional with I run today in the antecedent because that's what the if is hooked onto, and the rest goes in the consequent. Okay. So I will be sore and tired, that's a conjunction, whoops, not a conditional. That's the conjunction of I will be sore with I will be tired. So I will be tired, that's atomic T. I will be sore, that's atomic S. I run today, that is atomic R. It's a conditional. If this happens, if this is true, then these are other things that will also be true. If this, then that, and our main connective test brings that out. Okay, let's look at just one more, one that's more complicated. That's going to involve negations and conditionals and conjunctions. So, let's delete this work. So, I'm not too tired to drive, and if there aren't backseat drivers, we'll get home safely. So you might hear that and think, I know what that is, but you might not. So it could be worth just thinking, what do I think the main connective is? And now let's be more methodical about it. So there's a not, there's an and, there's an if, and there's a contraction. So what is this? Well, the main what's the main connective? It's not this not, and it's not the contraction, because when we have a not hooked up to a verb like am or not hooked up to a verb like are, then we know that the negation is going to be just on a sentence letter, and so it's not going to be the main connective of the whole thing, which means that actually it's just the and or the if, so we got to decide. So let's do our deletion test. Let's see what happens if we delete the and. We delete the and, we have I'm not too tired to drive. That's a sentence. We have if there aren't backseat drivers, we'll get home safely. That's a sentence. So good, the and passes the test. Let's check the if. So what happens? Well, we have this sentence, there aren't backseat drivers, and we have that sentence, we'll get home safely. But then we also have I'm not too tired to drive and, which is not a sentence. And this whole thing is also not a sentence. So we have one sentence, another sentence, we can't form anything big out of them, and then we're left with this gobbledygook. So we have 1, 2, gobbledygook, so that's too much. And so the if does not pass the deletion test. This is an and, which I think is what it sounds like. I'm not too tired to drive is one thing this sentence says. That's a negation of I'm too tired to drive, which is going to be T. So this sentence is a conjunction of I'm not too tired to drive with if there aren't backseat drivers, we'll get home safely. So if there aren't backseat drivers, we'll get home safely. Okay, well that's a conditional, right? If this, then that, right? We have a deletion test, so we have sentence 1, whoops. Oh, I can't get that right. Sentence 1 and sentence 2. So we'll put the if back, say this is a conditional. The antecedent is whatever comes between the if and the comma. So there we go. Okay, there aren't backseat drivers. That's the negation of there are backseat drivers. The negation going just on the sentence letter, the atomic sentence, and we'll get home safely is Y. So there we go. So that's a little bit more complicated. There's the and, there's the if, and then there are the two negations. But if we take it step by step, it actually breaks down fairly straightforwardly and makes a lot of sense. It's a conjunction of this negation and this conditional whose antecedent is itself a negation. So there you go. So there are some examples of using our step-by-step main connective test and method and using the deletion or removal test to check for main operators. So good luck with your symbolizations. We'll be looking at derivations in the other videos in this module, and if you have any questions, please let me know.